Good afternoon, everyone. It is a rainy day here today, but I hope you are all safe and grand comfortable wherever you are. Welcome to JBDC's virtual Biz Zone. My name is Dana Bennett, your host for this session, and this session is facilitated by the JBDC Technical Services Department, responsible for assisting clients with their product development needs from concept to market. Now, over the last several weeks, we have embarked on numerous topics, and most of them have been geared towards assisting persons with product development, mainly from the conceptual point of view, design thinking, what you need to implement, strategies that you can utilize, especially in a season such as this, where we are trying to navigate dealing with COVID. However, today we have something very special lined up for you. We decided to delve a little bit more into the practical side of product development. And so we will be looking at Lavishly leather key rings. And we have a very special presenter for you here today. She has not been with me on this platform before, but she has certainly been a long-standing facilitator for us here at the JBDC with product development workshops. And I'm speaking of none other than Miss Donna-Gay Uter. She is a product development specialist, jeweler, and designer, and she's a graduate of the Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts, and she has over 8 years of experience in her field. She loves design and making products from fine jewelry to leather products. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, I would like to welcome our presenter for today, Miss Donna-Gay Uter. So, Donna, over to you. Oh, as usual, sorry, before I head over to Donna, after her demonstration, you will be able to ask her whatever questions you have, perhaps that you need to get a little bit more advice on how you can go about implementing this. So at the end of her demonstration, you can fire away at the questions, whether you type it in the chat or you click on the icon indicating that you want to raise your hand. So Donna, without any further delay, again, over to you.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Dana, for having me. All right, so today we'll be looking at designing a keyring from basic shapes. Before we get into the practical, I have a little presentation that I want to walk you through. Dana, can I get the screen, please?
Dana, go ahead and share the screen, please.
I am sorry, it seems like I was encountering a small difficulty, but I am trying to share. I thought I'd actually started it already, but I'm coming. I'm trying to get it wider. I don't know why I am encountering this right now. So, 1 second. Okay. I think we should be good now. Are you seeing it, Donna?
All right, not fully, but everyone, are you seeing the screen?
They can type it
They
in
are
the
muted.
chat.
They are muted, Donna-Gay, and so they cannot respond.
Okay, all right.
Dana, if you could just go ahead and click on Lavishly Leather, the one that is highlighted right there. I don't know if you can see where my mouse is going. Just click on that and it will open the file, and then you can show it.
On my
Your
computer is actually up and there, so that's why I was actually asking. All right, let me stop the share and try to reshare it because it's fully up on my screen.
Okay.
Are you seeing it now?
Yes, that's it. Fabulous. Go ahead.
All right.
Yes, thank you very much. All right, so Lavishly Leather has been a workshop that we have been hosting at JBDC for some time. We have looked at leather jewelry, also leather products like bags, face mats, anything in leather, sandals. So that's where we had gotten the fancy name Lavishly Leather. Now, one other thing about Lavishly Leather is it can be using material from scraps, using just the basic things that you can find, easily access materials. So today we're going to be sharing some of these tools and materials that you'll need. So next slide, please. All right, so some of the material that we have can show you. For example, we have regnants. These are leather scraps. They come in different thickness, different colors. You have from the tooling leather, suede leather, right? And these are some of the leathers that we actually have. Also, we have the skiving knife. So for instance, if you want to work with a tooling leather and you want to ensure you bevel the edges, some of these tools that can come in handy. For this one, we're using a stencil knife itself. You can get this at the bookshop, right? And it can also be used to work. What I'm working with now is a cutting mat. So ensure that you have a surface that you can cut on, and one would be a cutting mat. Some persons can use a rubber board. So you can get a piece of board and you put a rubber sheet on it, and you'll have that to work with. Next slide, please, Dana. Next slide, please. All right, in this case, we are working with concrete glue. We have our fudge sticks that we can use to apply, and then we have our rubber mallet. So the rubber mallet can be made from leather hide itself. It can be made from plastic, hard plastic, and in this case, we're using a hard plastic mallet. Next slide. All right, some of the accessories that comes with the leather. You have your O-rings, you have your two-sided rivets, as in the image. You won't be able to see the ones that I'm having because they're small, but you have the two-sided rivet caps. All right, and some of our suppliers are local. You have, for instance, you have Miss Grant, you have Kingston Leather. Also, you have online where you can go on tandis.com. You can go on Amazon to source your leather tools, and you can also buy your leather scraps or even the hide itself. Back to the materials, you have Rotary Punch. This is a Rotary Punch. They come in different sizes. What it does is that it has different size where you can actually use to pierce into the leather itself. You have a stud setter. It is a metal block with different sizes to fit the caps of the rivets. And you also have a metal anvil. This itself is what you use to put on the top of the rivet in order to hammer it with the mallet in order to set it to the leather. And with me, I have a metal block itself that you can use to hammer on. It is best to have something as a base that you can work on so that you don't damage the tables that you're working on. All right, so this is an example of some of the key rings that we have today, working from the scraps itself. This is just small cuttings, and this is showing you how you can use what you have around you in order to produce your key rings. All right. With me, I have working with basic shape. Try again. What we have here are shapes. We have circles, we have oval, rectangle shapes, and we have triangles. So one of the things that you can do is actually go on the internet to download your basic shapes and work from shapes. For persons who like to free and draw, that is one option that you can do from whatever you want to produce. In my case, I am actually working from a basic shape. So the whole idea of the basic shape is that you can have that as your main template, and then you can design inside of the design itself. All right. So today we'll be working with this is a pear shape. It's done on a doubled. So if you can see, I have removed one side so far. So I have another template here that I'm going to show you how I remove it using the stencil knife. All right, so when you're using the stencil knife, ensure that the blades are placed in properly, right? Cutting down, so the part that is cut is supposed to be centered down, and you ensure that you hold your hand straight. So I'm removing the template itself. So I'm actually cutting on the line. For persons who are not good at using a stencil knife straight, what you try to do is you cut a little outside of the line itself in order to ensure that your shape is secure.
Donna, I see where Marcia Adams, I know we're saying we would facilitate questions at the end, but I don't know if her question is specific to what you just mentioned a while ago. So I'm going to allow her to let us know what it is that she...
Okay, no problem.
Marcia Adams?
Go ahead with your question, Marcia.
Yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Okay, Marcia, I'm not sure if you want to type the question in the chat because it's saying your bandwidth is a little low. So you may want to just go ahead and type the question in the chat.
Continue in the meantime, Donna-Gay. If she asks the question in the chat, then we will relay it to you.
Yeah. Okay, so no problem. So what I'm actually doing now is removing the template that I've created from the overall images that I've shown you. All right. So I've selected one of the shape, which is a pear shape, and I've removed it from the paper. Right. So this is what my design is going to be. With this design, in order for it to become what I have here as a finished product, is that once the leather is traced and cut out, then it will be folded in half. So because of the double folding now, the keyring itself is a little solid. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and trace this pattern onto the leather. So using a pen, I'm going to be actually tracing on the raw side of the leather, not the finish, which is the top. We're tracing on this side. So if you're cutting, you cut along the pen mark. So when you're finished, that you're not able to see anything. So it is best to cut mark and cut on this side. right, so this is, the pattern is actually traced onto the leather, so I'll be removing it using the stencil knife. Now again, it is best to cut along the line of the template. If not, if you're not a good person to manage the stencil knife, cut on the outline itself. So you don't have to cut on the mark, you cut on the outside of the mark. And I will repeat myself when you're using your stencil knife, and so it's best to work on a cutting mat to prevent you from damaging the table or your work surface. All right, so here you go. All right, so this is the piece that has been removed. Now, in my case, I am sticking to a basic keyring pattern. You have the option of using a stitched finish, and you also have the option of gluing. Depending on the thickness of the leather itself, will determine which of them will stand up. This leather is a little bit closer to the tooling leather, so it has more weight in it. So if you're planning on stitching, then the surface itself will hold while you're able to put your stitching line in. In this case, this leather that I'm using, it is thin. So what I'll be doing is securing it using glue only. Similar to cutting, once you're going to be working with glue, ensure that you have another surface that you can actually put your glue and everything so that you don't mess your table. Using a fudge stick, I'll be applying the glue onto the surface of the leather on the raw side of it, right? And I'm putting the glue on both ends that I want to secure. The section that the O-ring will be placed in, I won't be putting any glue there. So as you can see, that area is still dry. All right, this normally takes around 5 minutes or so in order to feel a little tacky. Once it's tacky, then it indicates to you that it is now ready to be bond. All right, so I'm using a O-ring. And I'm putting the O-ring onto the leather itself. All right, and allowing the leather itself to dry. All right, so if there's any question in the meantime, I can take while I'm waiting on this process to be completed.
Okay, so does anybody have any questions for Donna as it relates to actually making these leather keyrings? It's pretty simple so far based on what you have showed us, Donna.
Right. Okay, this goes to their question. All right, this goes to show you that you don't really need to have any experience or so, just to actually sit at home, have nothing to do, want to venture into a business, want to start something with leather. These are just basic stuff that you can actually start off doing. When you feel like you want to be more in-depth with leather, you can actually go on YouTube. A lot of persons have learned on YouTube how to actually make different products using leather. Also, we here at JBDC can facilitate persons who want to come in and start something from basic leather itself.
Okay, thanks, Donna. We have a question from Lisa Calendar. She's asking, is the stitching or was the stitching done on an industrial machine?
No, in fact, this one was hand done. So we have the tool itself that you use. This is a chisel itself. It comes with, some comes with one prong This one actually comes with 2, some comes with 4, 3, 5, or 6, depending on the surfaces that you want to actually chisel on. So this is what was used with the mallet itself placed along the edge of the leather. Each hole was pierced using the mallet itself in order to achieve this space. Right? So once you have bored it with this, you can go ahead and use your lacing thread to actually sew on. Another way that you can do it is sewing with the machine, but with small things like this, you don't really need to go through the hassle of getting a machine.
Okay. Sharoda Hamilton is asking, what type of glue is it that you use or you're using right now?
All right, repeat that question for me, please.
What type of glue are you using? Right?
Glue?
Yeah.
All right, so I am using a SCL stain bond. This is contact cement, and you can actually get this in Jamaica.
Okay, and we had a list of, you had a list in your PowerPoint with some of the places that these places may be accessed. I don't know if you want to just mention 1 or 2 of them for them.
All right, so some of the, for the glue itself, I would not recommend if you're going to just go and buy a can itself to go to the factory, right? It's best if you're getting like a dozen or so. However, you have People's Leather and you have Grant's Leather that you can go and get a small tin of glue.
Okay, all right, thank you. So Lisa Calendar and Sharoda Hamilton, they have said thank you very much and awesome.
All right, you're welcome. All right, so we now can see that the glue itself is tacky. My hands are not actually sticking on, it's coming off nicely. So I'm going to put the leather itself together. So you're ensuring that you're lining up the shape fully. Now, depending on the way you have made the pattern, you'll find that there's a little excess in terms of the shape. You can go ahead and use a stencil knife to remove that part. All right, so here you have it. Trying to ensure that the edges are clean. Another way that you can do is using a two-sided rivet cap in order to secure and also give the keyring itself a little a fancy kind of look. All right, so we can actually show you how to pierce the hole in the center. So you ensure that you line up exactly where you want that rivet to go, and then you can make the piercing using a rotary punch. All right, so in my case, from eye view, I'm actually putting the rivet here. When you're working with a rotary punch, as I explained earlier, it comes with different size. Each itself has a different bit hole. So what you want to do is to ensure that whichever you're using has the same size of the rivet itself, so that the rivet is not loose in the hole or even too tight to go in. So I'm actually testing the one that I want to use. Once the rivet is fit in there, then I know I'll select that one, right? So I'm turning that rotary punch to the hole that I've selected earlier. Where I've placed the mark, now I'm going to go ahead and make a punch. All right, so here you have it. I've created a hole. And I'm going to go ahead and insert my rivet cap. So one side is in. I'm going to put on the cap on the other side. Now, this is how the rivet setter comes into place, where you're going to select the hole that you know that the cap itself is fit into, which is this one for me, because I've done it a lot of times. I can actually tell. If you can't, what you do, you fit them in each of the holes until you find one that it's actually sitting into. All right, so in this case, I'm using this one. I'm going to place the rivet inside of it using my wooden block or my metal block. I'm having a rivet setter, the anvil. I'm going to place it on top of it. I'm going to take my time and I'm actually going to hammer until the rivet itself is set in. All right? All right, so that is it. Learning to make a keyring using scraps and just basic tools. Okay. Thank you, Dana.
All right, thank you so much, Donna. All right, so we have one or two questions for you. Cheryl Whitehead has actually said that the glue or the, what is it, a stain bond or?
A stain bond, this
right.
brand.
She has said that actually that is the best glue to use with leather. And Lisa Calendar is saying, where did you get the rivets?
The rivets, all right, you can visit People's Leather in order to get the rivets, but the thing that with there is that they're not two-sided. So for two-sided caps, what you have to do is go on Amazon or any other. Tandy's Leather is another good source in order to buy the rivet itself. But out here, you're limited when it comes on to variety in terms of your leather accessories.
Okay. All right. Any more questions for Donna? In the meantime, Donna, what if they wanted to do some adjustments to the actual keyring in terms of color or other designs outside of stitching? What would be the best approach? Would they have to prepare it first or?
All right, so it would be best that you work with either a goat skin or a tooling leather itself that is once you want to apply color to the surface. The tooling leather is very receptive when it comes onto that. Also the goat skin because it has the natural color base itself, so you can dye onto that surface. When it comes on to the leather itself that already have colors, you won't be able to add any other color to it because it has a seal coat over it that is actually protecting it. So you won't be able to do anything to the ones that already have colors. What you can do is based on your style, you can actually pierce designs on the inside of it. You can put rivets, you can add other accents on the inside itself, and you can also double up on your color. So if you want to have a two-tone colored keyring, then you can actually use your scraps and create just that.
Okay. And I am assuming that it's just as simple as well if you want to use other materials outside of leather?
Yes, depending on what you want to do.
Okay. All right. Veronique Mack is asking, which dye would you use? Porcelain dye?
All right, so for leather, we do have the leather ink. They're like inks. You can actually get those at People's Leather and also online. So they're particular ink that comes for leather itself. Similar like how you have the fabric dye, you have leather itself that comes with paint, another thing that you can use as well. So any product that you're buying in terms of the leather, once you have the leather on it that says leather paint or leather dye, those are what you will be recommended to use. Other things don't really hold onto the surface of the leather for that long.
Okay. Leather is a unique material, but it lasts very long, right?
Right. It has a breathable surface, so maybe it's not alive, but in this case, it still absorbs. So if you're not treating it right with moisture and stuff, then it can be dried out.
Okay. So if somebody actually makes a keyring and they want to put it up for sale for, a period of time, what would be the best packaging per se to put it in, so that it won't necessarily affect the material?
Well, in the case of keyrings, you don't really have to put it in anything depending on the shape and the size of it. What you do is actually you could have a swing tag or so attached to the loop or the O-ring, right? If you're selling them in, say, bungles, in sets or so, then you can actually put them in sealable bags.
Okay. And that will be enough to protect the leather.
right until it gets into the hand of the owner. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any more questions for Donna? Donna, in the meantime, can you just tell them a little bit about the craft incubator and some of the services that we provide, and especially the product development?
All right, so we do have a craft incubator that caters for persons in jewelry making, in leather craft. Also, recently we started batik in the incubator itself. So we do have that facility to accommodate persons who are doing large yardages of materials. We conduct workshops from time to time. We offer a technical assistance. So for instance, the officers that are trained in a particular area can be able to sit one-on-one with each client depending on the uniqueness of the work that they brings in. Also, we do have a graphic department, visual communication. They help in terms of your branding. So for instance, if you're starting something from scratch and you want to come in to kind of brand your product, that's where we would recommend that you come. We also have the business advisory service department now that you can actually sit with them. So for instance, a lot of persons have the challenges of costing their products. So say for instance, you're buying your scraps and when you complete, you're just like giving it away for little or nothing. We have that department that can be able to sit with you, help you to track back what you have spent so far in order to put things down. Record keeping is important. And from there, you can say, all right, I'm actually selling this for $1,500 because this is the amount of money that I spend versus the time to make it.
Okay. And what is the cost like for the craft incubator to utilize it?
All right, so on a daily basis to use the craft incubator is $750. If you're planning on saying you're doing fine jewelry and anything outside of just using the space, it would be $1,000 to use for the oxygen and the gas and so forth.
Okay, so once you're using additional equipment,
Right.
right, you have to pay additionally for it. And it is still open now during this season, right?
Yes, it is open. What we do is we work better with appointments in order to limit the gathering. We say, for instance, might be a one or two persons are low on a daily basis, so we can actually have that social distancing.
Okay, so it's best for persons to make an appointment if they want to actually come in and utilize the incubator for production.
Right.
So you want to just give them some contact information on how they can go about setting up the appointment.
All right, so you can, Dana, can you share the numbers with me? And then, all right, so you can send an email to duter@jbdc.net. That's
okay.
Right, that would be myself. And our, Dana, you can share the contact number for me, please?
Sure. You can contact the Incubator and Resource Center at 876-758-3966. That's 876-758-3966. I am seeing where somebody raised their hand a while ago. It disappeared a minute ago, but I'm not sure if it was Veronique Mack. Can you raise your hand again, please? I missed that. And somebody was raising their hand, Donna, to ask you a question while we're giving out the number. Okay, in the meantime, until I hear from Jacqueline Turner, Marcia Adams Donna is asking, what is the cost for the glue?
All right, so from the quarter thin, it varies from 800 upwards. So depending on the size, this is itself is a quarter. So you have half quarter, you can purchase the smaller cans. So that varies.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, I am not seeing where Jacqueline has unmuted her mic. Jacqueline, I don't know if you just want to go ahead and type your question in the chat. Okay, we're hearing you now. Okay.
Yes. So it's not particular a question of such, but I was saying I'm the manufacturer of shoes dye, black shoes dye for leather. It's a permanent dye. right? And basically for leather. So I sell that dye. And so I
Okay,
have it in black and brown.
Okay.
okay,
And
mm,
it's JBDC that does the label, incubator that does the labels for me.
okay,
So I'm
very
with
good.
JBDC all these years. So
Okay, very good.
if
So that
so
means if
anyone can contact me.
okay, so that means if persons want to get access to leather dye, they may actually contact
Right.
Jacqueline Turner for that.
Yes.
Okay, somebody's
Uh,
asking, Cheryl Whitehead is asking, what is the brand of that dye? She's interested.
it's Black Hawk. It's Black Hawk. So it's hawk dye. It has a arc on the label.
Okay,
That's a trade. That's the logo, and the trade name is Hawk. Black Hawk shoes dye
okay. So Miss
for
Turner,
making permanent for making leather permanently black and brown.
okay. So Miss Turner, I don't know if you want to go ahead and just type your contact information in the chat, or if you just want to go ahead and give them a number that they may contact you if they want to
Um.
speak with you one on one.
Okay. So I could go ahead and give the number, and
Okay.
it's 876-337-7453.
So that's 876-337-7453.
7453. Yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much.
Yes, you're welcome.
So if you are interested in accessing leather dye, you may contact Miss Turner. She gave her number a while ago. That's 876-337-7543 so that you can access.
1 second. Or if they want to buy it, it's at Nelson's Drugstore in Crossroads, and it's at March Drugstore downtown. But if they need it in volume, so they are selling it in the 5-ounce bottles. If persons would need more than that amount, then they could contact me directly.
Okay.
But it's in the pharmacy and variety store.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you,
You're
Miss
welcome.
Turner.
Yes, thanks. You're welcome.
Okay, so does anybody else have any more questions for Donna? Okay, all right, Donna, it seems as if everybody is good. Your demonstration was quite on point and very simple, and I am sure that they will be contacting you about getting any further assistance that they may need in terms of designing a keyring or any further product development assistance that they may regard as useful going forward.
Okay, all right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dana.
All right, yes, I'm Cheryl Whitehead. I said thanks, Donna. And I
Okay.
really want to thank you for taking time out to be here today and to assist us. Okay, Veronique Mack has said thank you, Donna. She's very grateful. All right.
All right,
Yes,
Manu.
yes, thank you for being here today, Donna, and for a very short but useful presentation as to how we can make hearings, which all of us utilize on a day-to-day basis. So, there's always already market for that. So it's not even that
Definitely.
complicated based on how you showed it to us. I really want to thank you for
All right, you're
that.
welcome.
Lisa Calendar and Beryl Blake has also said thank you, as well as Marcia Adams.
You're welcome all.
Right.
Yes.
So, all right. So going forward, ladies and gentlemen, I really want to thank you for being here today. Please remember that the JBDC is here to assist you with your product development needs, as well as business development needs. You can contact our offices at 876-928-516-125 to get additional information on any one of our departments that may be useful towards your respective endeavors, whether it be a service industry oriented business or just towards product development, or perhaps thinking how you can market a local product to or things Jamaican stores. So we look forward to hearing from you. Please don't forget that you can contact us by any one of our social media platforms, be it Instagram, sorry, or Twitter or Facebook. And you can also send us an email at info@jbdc.net, as well as contact us via our website if you need to, get any additional information on any one of the services that we offer. Also, please don't forget that you can access this webinar and our previous webinars on our YouTube that we have put up there just for you. And you can access them. And if you miss any of the information, you can definitely go there and visit and get whatever you may have missed out on. So thank you very much for being here today. Next week, we will also be looking some more on product development, and you will hear a little bit more about that as we move forward. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and please be safe and take care of yourselves. And we look forward to having you here at our next session, same time, same place. Goodbye and have a good one.
Thank you. The same to you.